too long. All right. Let's roll cameras.
Cool.
Greg, we'll have you jump right into it.
Okay.
Feel free to grab the can if you need to read something.
Okay,
off of it or
gotcha.
whatever.
You want us to do the beer
Beer
thing
first and then-
Okay.
yeah.
Then get into it. Cool.
Logos out, boys.
Logos out. Griffin Claw. What is this thing called again? Fremont Sky Kraken. Save the best for last, McGraw. I'm Greg Migliore, editor-in-chief of Autoblog. Most of the time you see us, we're tracking the latest sports cars or off-roading in the desert. Now we're giving you an inside look at the automotive industry and the people who make it happen. Each episode, we sit down with industry movers and shakers. We pour a couple beers and let the stories fly. How did they get into the biz? What makes them tick? We discuss it all in a casual happy hour setting. Grab a seat and have yourself a drink. This is Autoblog Off the Clock. I'm Greg Migliore. Joining me today is the head of Jeep Design, Mark Allen. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks for the beer.
Yeah, we're here at the Griffin Claw Brewery, Birmingham, drinking some beers. Jeremy Korzeniewski, John
Howdy.
Snyder.
Hi.
Gathering around the table. All right, guys, so this is El Lazaro. This is a Mexican lager with fresh lime, courtesy of Griffin Claw here in Birmingham. Pretending this is our
Yeah.
first sip because
Drinking
we've already
beer.
had like a few.
Summer beer.
I like it. I like it.
Refreshing.
What's interesting to me about this is it has the lime already in it. It was brewed with the lime in it. Like usually a Mexican beer, I'm sticking it in the bottleneck and flipping it upside down, but this it doesn't need more lime. It's good.
It doesn't need more lime, but I also think it'd be great made up as a chelada. So you put a shot or two of lime juice in the bottom of it, salted rim, fill it up the rest of it with it. I think that would be a delicious option with this beer as well.
I would drink that.
So good beer. Jeeps are good too. Mark, you do design for Jeep.
Yes.
Probably the most important FCA brand and one of the most important brands in the world right now.
Yeah, big for us. Big year for us. We got a new product last year. Wrangler came out last year, which is, if you don't know, that Wrangler, we only do it in 10-year cycles. So that was a big deal. And then bringing a pickup truck this year. So.
How did you get into Jeep design? I imagine that's not something you just fill out an application. They're like, here you go. Go do that.
No, that's exactly how it went. But I've been drawing cars since I was a little kid, like 4 years old, definitely in kindergarten, all the way through my whole life. I drew cars this morning when I got up.
Nice.
It's just what I do. At some point, I wormed my way to a design school at CCS in Detroit. Landed a job at Chrysler, which is where I wanted to go. It was headed by Tom Gale at the time. I admired Tom. Lucky enough to end up in the Jeep studio. I've only ever worked on Jeeps or trucks my whole time there.
Wow.
And when it came time to spin the wheel and pick the Jeep guy, I got it.
Yeah.
And it's been a hell of a lot of fun. Yeah.
Now, it's interesting that we have the Jeep designer on here and we have two guys who have really deep histories, connections to Jeep.
Oh, yeah?
Jeremy?
Yeah.
His initials are JK, so
Right. Yeah, I just fit right in.
Last year's Jeep.
Yeah,
So
well,
now
you
those
know.
are cool.
They're still, they're vintage now.
Yeah, they are.
No, actually, my father retired from Jeep, from Toledo. Yeah. He started, I want to say probably on the line. I know he did some drafting, but at some point he switched over to engineering. He retired as a process engineer. Long history with Jeeps. Grew up with
Toledo.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Toledo. Did Jeep Jamborees growing up. Actually, one of my very first vehicles is a 1990 Wrangler.
Tell me you had the 4-liter.
No, it was a 4-cylinder.
Oh.
No, yeah.
Oh, 2.5.
Yeah, and it was, once it was lifted with those off-road wheels on it, like foot to the floor on the highway, you're like 65 miles an hour-ish. Draft a semi.
Yeah.
nice. Wow. You used to own a Jeep too, right?
Yeah, my second car was a 1999 XJ, which we lifted and put big tires on. And I drove it down to New Mexico once for a Jamboree. That was the car I took to college, basically lived in it. It was wonderful.
XJ people are our most fanatical people, in a good way. It's funny, I've got a TJ who drive around. If you see a lifted XJ, wave at those guys, man, they get excited. Because they don't get waved to for some reason. I think only
It's not
XJ
part of the
people
Jeep
wave
wave,
at them.
yeah.
But you know what, XJ, people ask me all the time, like, what's a good inexpensive way to go wheeling?
Yeah,
XJ.
it was
That's
great.
it. Oh yeah, they're tough as nails.
I learned to drive, and my sister and all my cousins, we all learned to drive on a 1946 CJ2A.
Oh yeah.
My grandpa had one at a hunting ranch, and so we go up there in the summer, and there's a lake, we go fishing and stuff, but we would take that out on the trails, and and I mean, that was, for a kid, that was tough to learn on.
Oh yeah.
You really learn how to drive when you learn how to drive on that.
We were all, when we were 12 years old, we were all behind the wheel of that thing, steering it down the trails, across rivers.
First car I drove, and I don't know the exact year, we had a flat fender Jeep with a 327 Chevy in it. And we had a dune buggy too, and I couldn't reach the pedals on the dune buggy. So it was the Jeep was what I drove. And we went out on the Oregon dunes. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. And I've done that same thing with my kids. I let them drive my Jeep on the dunes out at Silver Lake just because put it in low range, let the clutch out, they're fine. You can't really run into anything.
My grandpa had to replace the starter button though in it because all our little feet, we were trying
Oh,
to
a foot starter?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
With our heel on the accelerator, we were barely reaching the thing, so it got pushed way to
That'd be
the
an
front.
awesome anti-theft device.
Yeah.
To have now.
Actually, all you need now is a stick shift.
Yeah.
Stick shift.
And it's pretty
Nobody's
much a good
taking that,
anti-theft device these days.
Yeah. Actually, 3 in a tree.
Oh,
Nobody
boy.
figured that out.
Nobody would know. It's funny you bring up the XJ. You and I have talked about this on the podcast too, just about my random love of that body style and how I just I'm constantly in the market looking at Bring a Trailer, Craigslist, trying to figure out if I really want to buy one now, should I wait, what should I do? Because I'm not really mechanically inclined. So that's a problem if you're going to get one of those of a certain vintage.
Oh, you got to
but
learn how to turn a wrench if you're going to
I
own an
do.
XJ.
And
Yeah.
right now I can turn one, but not with any sort of authority.
Turn the book back, 1984, and look at that car. That was a pretty rowdy little car. They'd hit on something, because remember that replaced essentially the big SJ, which was big. The little XJ was so small, and it's really small if you put it up against anything today. It's really tiny, but that sheer corners on it. I mean, they went right to a 90-degree corner on the ends of that thing.
So off-roaders, Mark, you must have at least one in your garage. What do you have lurking there?
Well, I have several Jeeps, but the vehicle that sees the most off-road, I've got an 01 TJ. It's the normal stuff. It's got long arms on it, 35s, lockers. It's got the Rubicon TK. So it was built before we had Rubicon. And usually I'm a 3-4 year guy with a car. After that, it's got to get disposed of. But I've had this TJ for 16 years now, I think. I go wheeling with it 2 times a year. We have a couple big trips, and whenever else I can get it out. It just turned 70,000 miles last year, so really low miler.
Wow.
But it's a manual trans, and we'll get into the argument about which is better. That's what I prefer. So it's a 4-liter and a manual, but it's become kind of like the relationship you have with a Labrador Retriever. I mean, it's just steady Eddie, always there with me. I've put more miles on it off-road than I have on-road. Once you lift it, do those kind of things to it, it's not a really good commuter car anymore. It's great for a sunny day and stuff like that, but
I feel like a TJ is a really cool Wrangler to have.
it was the last real Wrangler.
It is.
No, I can't say
No,
that.
you shouldn't say that.
Yeah, I
You shouldn't say that. But
But it was rowdy when it came out because it had coil springs.
yeah, exactly. There was a lot of pushback from the Jeep faithful about that. But if you look at the progression of Wranglers, the TJ kind of stands out a little bit. I think is very much still a pure Wrangler, a very pure experience. Once you got to the JK and now the JL, they're getting much nicer. The luxury bits are still really going in there. Your Jeep, however, probably doesn't have a whole lot of those things, but it's very pure, right?
AM and FM.
Well, I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, has an
That's pretty
airbag.
good.
But really, the TJ was, look, before we had the JK, the 4-door, they were used, number one cross-shop vehicle up to that point was a speedboat. Because that's where the extra money went, family, you got it. So adding the 4-door to the line, then it became kind of more of an everyday vehicle. You could bring the kids and the dog and stuff. So you say luxury, but I think we were just making it easier to live with day in and day out.
For sure.
Jeeps used to be, especially Wrangler, right? They were sold in the spring and the summer, and they were welded to the lot in the winter. Now you can drive it year round, and I think that's the key, because we've been always really good at off-road. It's the on-road, day-to-day living with it, which is where we've been putting the most effort in lately.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider buying a Wrangler without getting heated seats anymore.
Right. Now we have heated steering wheel, which I would take heated steering wheel over heated seats, honestly.
Yeah,
No
that's
compromise
mine.
on the flip-down windshield, though. I mean,
Absolutely.
you gotta
No,
have that.
no.
Gotta have it.
We have that. I flip my windshield down all the time. A lot of people, mostly JKs, you won't see them very often because it was a curved window.
Right.
And it was probably an hour's worth of your time to get it down and a bunch of bolts.
It's actually easier on the JL, isn't it, than the
is.
JK?
Yeah, if you walk up to a JL, never put the windshield down on one before, we give you the toolkit, about 3.5 minutes of your time, and it's down. Mostly because the way the roll cage is constructed now, it's always there 100%, so the windshield's really kind of free from it.
Yeah, I think all that stuff has gotten way easier.
Intentionally,
the
yeah.
convertible top.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
mean, my old YJ.
That was assembling a tent.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
it was just ridiculous. Got these little fitments that go into
Yeah.
there and these big, huge zippers. And once you get it on, it's still not anything remotely water or airtight.
Yeah.
The TJ was a little bit better, I suppose.
TJ was a
but
lot better, actually.
Well,
yeah.
but it's still kind of
Oh,
different.
yeah.
Like compared to what they're doing
Yeah,
now, like
yeah.
those Sunrider tops that they've
Yeah.
got now, it's just whoop, straight down, so easy.
Got rid of all the zippers now. It's a lot easier. Doesn't matter what the temperature is so much now.
Right.
Yeah.
God, I remember driving around in Wisconsin in old CJs with soft tops in the winter. You know,
Why?
just because that's what
Yeah.
we had to cruise around in.
Yeah. You can break the soft window.
Yeah.
Right.
But
It's like
yeah,
an old Frisbee.
we'd be bundled up, seeing our breath while we're driving. That was quite an experience. But
Yeah. You ever drive a Beetle, air-cooled Beetle in the winter?
not in the winter.
You gotta
no.
do it with a rag in your hand.
Yeah, I have a 75 Volkswagen camper van right now, and I occasionally drive it in bad inclement weather, and it's a little drafty.
That's a long way for warm air to travel.
It
from
really
the back
is.
to the window.
It really is. Yeah, as long as the defrost works and cleans my windshield, I feel like okay.
So methodical, speaking of that, off-road, manual, automatic, what do we think? Mark, we'll start with you.
I'll drive either, but I prefer a manual. We make both, and we're one of the few that still
Yeah?
offer that choice. I prefer the control of a manual. Once you get the vehicle geared really, really low, I have mine geared very, very low. I like the instant reaction to it. And look, you want to start an argument, we'll talk manual, automatic, off-road, but for mud and stuff like that, I think an automatic's awesome. Just stand on it and go. But I don't like the loose connection at the torque converter myself. Some people will tell you, well, you get a deeper torque curve, get the build up, but you have to build up to it. And even in going down a hill when you let out, it kind of overruns it. So I just prefer manual. Not here to start a fight, but
Well, disagreements, what do we think?
I mean, push come to shove, I'm going to choose a manual also, but I totally get the argument for the automatic. It takes a lot of concentration to get the manual just right with the clutch and the feathering of things and all that. An automatic takes that out of the equation, really helps you focus on solely your line, making sure you're getting, so I get it, but if I were choosing, I'd pick a manual for myself as well.
yeah.
I think a manual's more interesting. Like the feel when you're creeping over something and you
Yeah.
just have to get just enough torque to get over that rock or that little log or something. Using both feet, you get a really good feel for it. But yeah, it's a distraction when you've got your weight over here and you got to look out for this cliff that's right here. Yeah, an automatic makes life a lot easier.
Here lies John Snyder, who fell off a cliff because he
Right.
refused to give up his clutch pedal.
Right.
I cheat. I've got a hand throttle, and I 2-foot it anyway. So yeah,
There you
but
go.
it makes a difference.
That's an interesting
and there's no
option.
cliffs in Michigan to fall off of, so you're safe.
Yeah, I would have to say I would fall on the side of manual, but I also honestly, like all the things you guys said. If you're on the trail to be outside and soak in nature, you don't want to think about all the stuff that goes along with the manual, the technical skills, sure, go with the automatic. But the first time I did a really intense off-roading experience was the Rubicon for the launch of the last generation Wrangler. I remember you were there, and a lot of good memories from that press trip. It was really epic, but that was the first time I did it, so I just didn't know any other way until like 2 years later when somebody, it was probably another Jeep press trip, they were like, hey, here's the automatic. I'm like, oh, okay, try this. This is easier.
First time I did Rubicon, we did it with a manual trans, and Mark Smith was still around.
Oh, okay.
And threatened me with a 2x4, said, if I see you use the clutch, I'm gonna break your knee. And once you get over that, you're like,
Subtle.
It's on or off. You're not slipping the clutch or anything like that.
Yeah, it's a different mindset.
Yeah, once you get going, you stay. And then you can 2-foot it too, especially if it's geared low. You really don't need the clutch. You can ride the brake.
I think that's interesting how much you learn about, just the clutch and the gearing when you are off-road. Things that you would not learn with any other type of vehicle.
Yeah, you think about it a lot more. You're
Exactly.
Like, what am I doing to this car?
Your approach changes.
Yeah.
Mechanically sympathetic, right?
Yes.
Hey guys, beer has arrived. Fremont Sky Kraken. It's from your neck of the woods, Jeremy, Seattle.
That's right, yeah. Close to downtown, Seattle Brewery. Looks like it's going to be a hazy pale.
Fitting.
Yeah, well, I think hazy started on the East Coast, didn't they? Like a hazy IPA is kind of like a New England IPA
that's
thing.
what it's known for.
But I can tell you, living in Seattle, they've totally taken hold. Like every brewer I go to has got multiple hazy options. And yeah.
Can't see through it.
I haven't taken a sip of this yet. It smells super juicy.
Yeah, it does.
Very juicy.
Strong.
Very drinkable.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. I love the art on the can. We have this kind of sea monster thing going on. Very colorful. I mean,
And the sea monster is attacking a zeppelin.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is. Kind of Led Zeppelin and a squid.
Yeah.
I'd watch that battle.
I would take the Zeppelin though, just because air power usually beats sea power.
10 out of 10 would watch that battle.
Yes.
It's a Gladiator. That's
Gladiator.
like the new big thing you guys have going on.
That's kind of a thing, yeah. Been a thing for a while for me. I'm trying to get. It's funny. We've been pressing trying to get a pickup truck back into Jeep for a long time. So it took forever to get that to happen, and now that it did, the mood in the building, all signs kind of point to success with it. But the mood in the building is like, wow, why didn't we do this yesterday? Like, guys, we've been trying for years to get this done, but happy it's finally there. We'll be launching it first quarter or end of the first quarter, going into May. I've got one coming. We're doing the press releases on it right now. The drive, who's going?
Jeremy's going to be on that.
Excellent.
By the
Yeah.
time you
Looking
see this
forward to it.
video, he'll
Yeah.
have been on it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's putting another leg on the Wrangler stool. So
Yeah.
2-door, 4-door, the truck now, the Gladiator truck. I think it's going to be a big deal. It really solves a few problems. When we added the 4-door to the Wrangler line, because you see the 2-doors out there on the trails, and they've got these racks and things all over them to haul his stuff and the dogs and things. The 4-door helped that, and then they ran out of room again. And I think the truck is going to be a big deal for that. You'll see a lot of trucks actually, I think, predict towing toys, boats, other Jeeps, to the trail, motorcycles, stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good deal for us.
Is there anything you didn't get on the Gladiator that you was on your wish list and you really wish you could have gotten on? Like
Hemi, yeah, no.
Hemi, Gladiator, Hellcat?
No, we really, it was nice to get what we have. Most people are surprised that it's an open vehicle, that the doors come off, that there's a soft top, the roof opens up just like in a Wrangler, even the windshield. And I got to tell you, be honest, I wasn't really a player for that full open, doors off, roof off on a 4-door pickup. It just sounded weird, like a airport service vehicle or something in my mind. We've shown it now a few times that way, and it's really, I don't know, it sticks with me somehow. It's different than anything else out there. We've aimed the truck really at the enthusiast side. You won't see us selling it to the Orkin man or anything like that. It's going to be more enthusiast side.
I was walking around the Gladiator at the auto show in LA when it was debuted, and I noticed a 419 Easter egg back in the, and I thought, okay, this is Jeep. They're throwing us Toledo guys a bone here.
Yeah.
Any other Easter eggs that I maybe missed when I was walking around?
None I'm going to talk about. No,
Yeah?
No,
So it's
Toledo mud hens. Things
Yeah.
or something?
the 419 was actually the designer in my shop, like kind of came up to me. He's from Toledo and like, hey, I want to do something. And we talked it over and then came up with that. And yeah, if you don't know, I mean, all Wranglers and Gladiators are built in Toledo and have been traditionally forever. There was a period of time.
Canada for a little while, right?
Went to Canada
Yeah.
with the square headlight Jeeps. But yeah, we just want to kind of salute that workforce. And really, you think about, there's a few cities in the world, like Bowling Green is Corvette, and Ferraris come from Italy. The Jeep comes from the heart and soul is in Toledo. We want to honor that.
Yeah, it was a neat touch, I thought, when I walked around.
It's
'cause
subtle.
Growing up there, I thought, okay,
Yeah.
they're throwing us a bone on that one. I like that.
Most people won't understand it, won't get it, and then they'll look it up and like, oh, that's a cool thing.
Yeah, and Jeep, I mean, your Easter egg game
Oh,
is
yeah.
really on point. I
Thanks.
mean,
Yeah.
really strong.
Yeah. We get away with that really because we don't tell anybody we're doing it. We just do it. And I've never been told not to. We stopped at some point because somebody from product planning came to me and said, hey, we want to put in place a Easter egg steering committee. I'm like, no, we're done.
Yeah.
We're over. It's you can't.
You
tell
heard
a
the
joke
word
that way.
steering committee, and you're like,
Yeah,
hold on.
Yeah,
that's
these are
not-
things that have to be
no.
snuck in
Yeah,
under.
they've
Yeah.
gotta, they've got to be a bit subversive.
Yeah.
And
Or else they're
off the cuff.
no longer authentic.
Yeah, there's on the Renegade, there is a Sasquatch, and there was really no reason to do it. Just one day we said, let's do it. And
That makes me
put
more
it on.
excited about the Renegade.
Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah.
I didn't know
Oh,
that.
yeah. There's a couple of goofy things on the Renegade, but we think about them as for the owner. They're washing the car and they discover it or find it somehow. So we don't commercialize it too much. We don't talk too much about it. It's really, these vehicles are built by people who think about the people they build them for and just went on. I don't know.
No, keep it up.
Fun with it.
Yeah, Easter eggs
thank
make
you. I
our
appreciate
jobs a lot more interesting when
Yeah.
it's like, hey, did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And it's so
Just-
subtle too.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the
you're-
key. Keep
Yeah.
it subtle, not in your face.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And usually where we put it, like the 419, it's mashed into the a casting or a formation in the
Or etched into a
plastic.
window somewhere,
Yeah.
something like that.
It costs us zero.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost us anything. But it gives back so much.
And the fans love that stuff too.
Yeah.
we thought it was going to be called the Scrambler. And then obviously you guys knew something
Oh
we
my
didn't,
God.
obviously. Any other names you considered? How did you arrive at Gladiator?
We considered
Like
all of them.
all of them, all the ones we
worked
thought
on the
about.
car for about two and a half years, and we worked on the name for 10. And really, it was the last possible minute that we settled on the name. There was just a lot of emotion behind it. We went with Gladiator, only that the Gladiator signifies the J truck, which was our big body on frame. Scrambler, there was a lot of emotion for Scrambler,
Yeah.
but really that wasn't a full-on pickup truck. It was an extended, well, it wasn't even a Wrangler at that point, it was a CJ. Gladiator, fun fact, in this country anyway, was never badged externally as a Gladiator that I can find. Maybe somebody could tell me something different. Rick Payway found for me he was out of South America somewhere that they badged them externally Gladiator, but not in this country. Weird. It said Gladiator in the media materials and they marketed it as such, but yeah. Anyway.
Cool.
Well, now, was Scrambler, was that originally an options package on the CJ8, or was it actually a name that they...
We called it Scrambler.
Okay.
In fact, I don't think we marketed it as CJ8. It was the Jeep Scrambler.
Gotcha.
And it was really, they were splashed out on the hood. Comanche was in play, Scrambler. Several things were in play. There were other names that I won't tell you about, but it went back and forth for a long, long time. Longer than it should have. But we've had a few cars that do that.
Are we going to get a dealer-installed giant, like, Golden Eagle
That'd
on
be
the
awesome.
hood?
That would be
we're
great.
That's coming, right?
We just did, in the dying days of JK, right before we finished JK, we did another Golden Eagle package. You probably weren't aware of it. And we looked back, they'd done a Golden Eagle on TJ, and of course originally on CJ, and even on the Cherokee, big full-size Cherokee. And we started looking back at the graphics, and the graphic was the bird on the hood. It was always a bald eagle.
Had
a white
they
head.
Called it gold. They called it Golden Eagle, but it was
Wait a minute here.
No, that's absolutely like what? Yeah,
Well, I'm,
that was-
Everybody
I'm
look at
fully
this?
expecting a dealer-installed vinyl eagle for the brand.
well,
yeah.
I can't
No,
really
yeah.
speak for it, but it might happen. I
Yeah.
won't say it
The
won't.
aftermarket will carry.
We did sneak
take
in
care
the
of it.
last on the JK. We snuck in a little homage to or Easter egg to Daisy Duke, because that was her right of choice, right? Yeah.
Very cool.
So if you have a Golden Eagle, check that out.
I think it's probably the single most vehicle that we're all excited to drive. I think because the build-up for it has just been so huge. I mean, the reveal, the name, what it might be, what it could do off-road. So
It surprised us, honestly.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it would be notable, but not. The craziness that we're getting, the hand raisers that we're getting for Gladiator is shocking us, more so than I would have guessed. Of course, we'll get some crossover for Wrangler, but we'll also pick up. It's like the customers that we know we're going to get, the customers we think we're going to get, but there's a segment of customers that we haven't even met yet for that truck.
The wild card customer.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're seeing with the Bronco and vehicles like that, where Ford is obviously trying to go back down that road. GMC, we're hearing rumors, things like that, but it seems like there's just this market for this. I'll go there, the white space sort of vehicle, and it seems like you guys seem to have that pretty well thought out.
Wrangler's funny because for so long it was, look, when I first started, we had 3 cars, Wrangler, Cherokee, and then the Grand Cherokee was new in '93. But for so long just had, Wrangler was kind of a stepchild. The 4-door brought it a lot more success. And now it's become it's been there so long, now it's become red hot, we're not even come to grips with all that yet, the raging success of that. So it's crazy.
When you were redesigning the Wrangler, I mean, to go back to really step back here, we've got the truck, we've got all these different Jeeps.
Yeah.
You must have felt some pressure because that is the iconic Jeep. How did you get over that? How did you?
You know what? And I've been asked that question before, but we've been thinking about it for a long, long time. And if you know what we do with Moab, our activities every year, we've been trying different things out and exploring different ideas. A lot of them ended up on JL because of that. So we were ready for it. There was some, I'll call it a dark period where we didn't know what was really going to happen with the vehicle. And it's normal questions that you should ask as a company. Should it still be made like this or made here or whatever? Thankfully, all that came to pass, and we just took what we know about Wrangler and amplified it and made it better. But there were some periods of time where even we were like, I don't know what's going to happen. And it's really walking the fine line. It's very successful, but it's still a body on frame, stick axle kind of vehicle. To fix all of those things takes it away from being a Wrangler. Our engineering team have done a great job with making the drivability on the vehicle better, making it quieter, nicer to live with. The interior is much nicer, so amplifying Wrangler rather than taking it apart and making something different. So, but there's some scary times. Yeah.
The fuel savings, right? I mean, that would be the big.
Absolutely. Yeah. Putting a Wrangler in a wind tunnel is not a fun thing to do. We got it through fine. It's not, groundbreaking by any means.
There was times where in the automotive press there was a lot of talk is the JK going to be the last body and frame Wrangler? And there was legitimate
absolutely
thoughts that might
weight
be.
is a real issue there. You can make the vehicle like an XJ wheel really well without having a frame intact, but it'd be tough to make it an open vehicle and not have a frame.
All right, guys, I think our glasses are looking pretty low. Mark, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. This is awesome. Beer and hanging out and talking cars.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.